Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning everyone. First of all, I would like to thank God Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has been giving us blessing and mercies so we can have a good condition today. The first thing I would like to say, the Honorable Professor Dr. Mashadi said M.Pd as a lecturer of academic speaking for specific purposes, and all of my beloved friends. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Gilang Rizkia Aditia. At this moment, I would like to share a crucial discussion about how important does speaker role to set effective information during speech time. It means the aim for speaking to inform. The material will be presented is requirement to fulfill the midterm test assignment of academic speaking for specific purposes subject in postgraduate of English Education Department. Let's discuss it. Next. In this second slide, you can see there is a quote about public speaking tips. Your speech is about them, not you, by Stephen E. Lucas. It means when giving a speech, the focus should be on the audience and their needs, interests, and understanding rather than on the speaker. Next. The discussion in chapter 15, it talks about speaking to inform. And Professor Dr. Mashadi said M.Pd is a lecturer of academic speaking for specific purposes. Next. In this slide, I'm going to tell you the outline for our discussion today. There are three crucial points. The first point talk about type of information speeches. The second one talk about guidelines for informative speaking. And the third point about sample speech with commentary. Let's discuss it one by one. Next. Well, the first point about type of information speeches contain four aspects, namely speeches about objects, speeches about processes, speeches about events, and speeches about concept. Next. The first point discussion is speeches about object. As the word is used here, object include anything that is visible, tangible, and stable in form. Object may have moving part or be alive. They may include a place, structure, animals, even people. You will not have time to tell your classmate everything about any of these subjects. Instead, you will choose a specific purpose that focuses on one aspect of your subject. Working the topic provided, the following are examples of good specific purpose statement for informative speeches about object. The first is to inform my audience about the medical use of 3D printers. Second one is to inform my audience about the role of dream catcher in Native American culture. The last one is to inform my audience about the major ecological feature of the Great Barrier Reefs. In speeches about object, there are three categories, namely chronological order, spatial order, and topical order. Next. If your speech purpose explains the history or evolution of your subject, you will put your speech in chronological order. For example, there are 3 points such as specific purpose, central idea, and main point. In specific purpose, for example, to inform my audience about the major achievement of Frederick Douglass, to focus on a single goal about achievements. In central idea, for example, although in slavery, Frederick Douglass became one of the greatest figures in American history. The focus refers to specific message or theme that the speaker aims to convey to the audience. It means topic development. Next. In main point, for example, the first is Douglass spent the first 20 years of his life as a slave in Maryland. The second one is after escaping to the North, Douglass became a leader in the abolitionist movement to end slavery. The third one is during the Civil War. Douglas helped establish black regiments in the Indian Army. And the fourth is after the war, Douglas was a tireless champion of equal right for his race. The main point refers to the key idea or argument that support the central idea and help achieve the specific purpose about how does Frederick Douglass get achievement in chronological order. Next. If your specific purpose to describe the main feature of your subject, you may organize your speech in spatial order. For example, there are 3 points such as specific purpose, central idea, and main point. In specific purpose, for example, to inform an audience about geographical regions of the Mississippi River, the focus on a single goal about geographical in certain regions. In central idea, for example, the Mississippi River is divided into 3 sections, each with its own unique feature. The focus refers to the specific message or theme that the speaker aims to convey to the audience. Its main topic development. Next. In main point, for example, the first is the upper Mississippi is known for its scenic park and system of dam and lock. The second one is the middle Mississippi is known for its wildlife, refuge, and missing opportunities. The third one is the lower Mississippi is known for its heavy river traffic and connection to the Gulf of Mexico. The main point refers to the key idea or argument that support the same idea and help achieve the specific purpose about describing the main feature of 3 sections around the Mississippi River region geographically. As often as not, you will find the speeches about objects fall into topical order. For example, there are 3 points such as specific purpose, central idea, and main point. In specific purpose, for example, to inform an audience about 3 major features of the Taj Mahal, the focus on a single goal about the main feature of Taj Mahal. In central idea, for example, the 3 major features of the Taj Mahal are the mausoleums, the garden, and the reflective pool. The focus refers to the specific message or theme that the speaker aims to convey to the audience about certain place or location in Taj Mahal. In main point, for example, the Taj Mahal mausoleum is famous for its brilliance, white marble, and massive dome. Second one is the Taj Mahal garden. It's famous for its symmetry and carefully sculpted greenery. The last one is the Taj Mahal reflecting pool is famous for its mirror-like surface, expansive layout. The main point refers to the key idea or argument that support the central idea and help achieve the specific purpose about explanation of 3 main objects in Taj Mahal. Next. The second point discussion is speeches about processes. A process is a systematic series of actions that lead to a specific result or product. Speeches about processes explain how something is made, how something is done, or how something works. Here are examples of good specific purpose statements for speeches about processes. The first is to inform an audience how to write an effective job resume. Second one is to inform an audience how tsunami developed. And the last one is to inform an audience how to read Braille. In speeches about processes, there are 3 categories, namely chronological order, topical order, and concise organization. Next. When informing about a process, you will usually arrange your speech in chronological order, explaining the process step by step from beginning to end. For example, there are 3 points as specific purpose, central idea, and main point. In specific purpose, for example, to inform an audience about 3 major stages in development of type 2 diabetes. The focus on single goal about development of type 2 diabetes. In central idea, for example, type 2 diabetes is a life-threatening disease that develops through early, middle, and late stage. The focus refers to specific message or theme that the speaker aims to convey to the audience about the way of type 2 diabetes development in certain condition of each stage. Next. In main point, for example, the first is the early stage of type 2 diabetes include blurred vision, numbness, and weight loss. Second one is the middle stage of type 2 diabetes includes poor circulation, nerve damage, and kidney failure. The third one is the late stage of type 2 diabetes include blindness, increased risk of stroke, and loss of limbs. The main point refers to the key idea or argument that supports the central idea and help achieve the specific purpose about the impact of each stage in type 2 diabetes in chronological order. Sometimes, rather than moving through a process step by step, you will focus on the major principle or technique involved in performing in the process. Then you will organize your speech in topical order. Its main point will deal with the spirit, principle, or technique. For example, there are 3 points such as specific purpose, central idea, and main point. In specific purpose, for example, to inform an audience of the common method used by stage magicians to perform their trick. They focus on a single goal about common method trick on the stage. In central idea, for example, stage magician use 2 common methods to perform their trick, mechanical device and sleight of hand. The focus refers to the specific message or theme that the speaker aims to convey to the audience about the common method categories usage. Next, in main point, for example, many magic tricks rely on mechanical device that may require little skill by the magician. And second one is other magic trick depend on the magician's skill in fooling people by sleight of hand manipulation. The main point refers to key idea or argument that support the central idea and help achieve the specific purpose about the way to deceive audience by using common trick or device and manipulation. Next, concise organization is especially important in speeches about processes. You must make sure each step is clear and easy to follow. If your process has more than 4 or 5 steps, group the step into units to limit the number of main points. For example, in a speech explaining how to set up a home aquarium, a student presented the following main point. Next, in this slide, there are 2 different organizations between students' main point and the speaker organized. The sub-point cover the same theory as the original 12 points, but 3 main points are much easier to understand and remember by speaker organized. Next. The third point discussion is speeches about events. The Random House Dictionary defines an event as anything that happened or is regarded as happening. By this definition, as usual, you will need to narrow your focus and pick a specific purpose you can accomplish in short speech. Here are examples of good specific purpose statement for informative speeches about event. The first is to inform an audience about the major event at Carnival in Rio de Janeiro. Second one is to inform an audience about the cause, symptoms, treatment of seasonal affective disorder. In speeches about event, there are 2 categories, namely chronological order and topical order. Next. There are many ways to discuss event. If your specific purpose is to recount the story of an event, you will organize your speech in chronological order, relating the incident one after another in the order they occur. For example, the are points such as specific purpose, central idea, and main point. In specific purpose, for example, to inform my audience about the history of the Paralympic, to focus on a single goal about history of competition. In central idea, for example, Olympic-style game for athletes with physical disabilities have made great strides since the first competition more than 60 years ago. The focus refers to the specific message or theme that the speaker aims to convey to the audience about disabilities athletes story in joining Olympic-style game chronologically. Next, in main point, for example, what would eventually become the Paralympic began in 1948 with a sport competition in Great Britain involving World War II veterans with spinal cord injuries. The second one is in 1952, the event expanded when athletes from the Netherlands took part. The third one is in 1960, the first Paralympic Games for international athletes took place in Rome. The last one is in 2001, an agreement was signed officially holding Paralympic Games alongside the Summer and Winter Olympic Games. The main point refers to the key idea or argument that support the same idea and help achieve the specific purpose about the series of events development have been held by Olympic Games into Paralympic for disabilities athletes. Next, you can approach an event from almost any angle or combination of angle features, origins, implication, benefit, feature development, and so forth. In such case, you will put your speech together in topical order, and you should make sure your main points subdivide the subject logically and consistently. For instance, there are 3 points such as specific purpose, central idea, and main point. In specific purpose, for example, to inform my audience about 3 aspects of Japan Open Festival, the focus on a single goal about aspect in certain event. In central idea, for example, Japan Open Festival is famous for its lanterns, historic dance, and graveside gathering. The focus refers to specific message or theme that speaker aims to convey to the audience about the characteristic of the event. Next, in main point, for example, the first paper lanterns are hung outside home to guide the spirit of departed family member. Second one is historic dance are performed in public area with special music and choreography. Third one is graveside gathering are held by family to maintain the burial site of their ancestor. The main point refers to the key idea or argument that support the central idea and help achieve the specific purpose about benefit in implementing the culture in the events. Next, the fourth point discussion is speeches about concept. Concept include belief, theories, idea, principle, and the like. They are more abstract than object, processes, or events. Speeches about concept are often more complex than other kind of informative speeches. When dealing with concept, pay special attention to avoiding technical language, to defining terms clearly, and to use example and comparison to illustrate the concept. Here are some specific purpose statements for speeches about concept. The first is to inform my audience about the philosophy of slow food. Second one is to inform my audience about the basic principle of Confucianism. The last one, to inform my audience about the original intent, doctrines, and constitutional interpretation. In speeches about concept, there are 2 categories, namely topical order and another approach. Next, speeches about concept are usually organized in topical order and focus on the main feature or aspect of your concept. For example, there are 3 points such as specific purpose, central idea, and main point. In specific purpose, for example, to inform my audience about the basic principle of non-violent resistance, the focus on a single goal about aspect of your concept. In central idea, for example, the basic principle of non-violence resistance stress using moral means to achieve social change, refusing to inflict violence on one enemies, and using suffering as a social force. Next, in main point, for example, the first major principle of non-violence resistance is that social change must be achieved by moral means. Second one is the second major principle of non-violence resistance is that one should not inflict violence on one enemies. The third one is the third major principle of non-violent resistance is that suffering can be powerful social force. The main point refers to the key idea or argument that support the central idea and help achieve the specific purpose about the principal function explanation in order. Next, another approach is to define the concept you are dealing with, identify its major elements, and illustrate it with specific example. An excellent instance of this came in student speech about homeschooling. The article points out a specific purpose, central idea, and main point. In specific purpose, for example, to inform my audience about different philosophies of homeschooling, the focus on single goal about making the differences. In central idea, for example, approach to homeschooling include the classical models, the Carrot-Mason model, the Montessori model, and the unschooling model. The focus refers to the specific message or theme that the speaker aims to convey to the audience about further explanation of approach usage. In main point, for example, the classical model focuses on language, critical thinking, and communication skill. Number 2, the Carrot-Mason model focuses on hand-on learning and study of nature. The third one is the Montessori model focuses on interactive environment that children navigate on their own. The last, the unschooling model focuses on escaping formal instruction and letting children learn through experience. The main point refers to the key idea or argument that support the central idea and help achieve the specific purpose about different focus of each approach explanation. Next, guidelines for informative speaking. First, don't overestimate what the audience knows. Second one is relate the subject directly to the audience. The third, don't be too technical. The fourth, avoid abstraction. The fifth, personalize your idea. The sixth, be creative. Next, there is an example speech with commentary. Based on this picture, the speech is presented by speaking affecting the audience stratified. Next, conclusion. Speaking to inform of you in a wide range of everyday situation, improving your ability to convey knowledge effectively will be valuable to you throughout your life. Formative speeches may be grouped into 4 categories, namely speeches about object, speeches about processes, speeches about event, and speeches about concept. No matter what the subject of your formative speech, be careful not to overestimate what your audience know about it. Explain everything thoroughly that they can't help but understand. Avoid being too technical. Make sure your idea and your language are fully comprehensible to someone who hasn't specialized knowledge about the topic. Avoid too many abstraction. Use description, comparison, and contrast to make your audience see what you are talking about. Try to personalize your idea and dramatize them in human terms. Finally, be creative in thinking of ways to communicate your idea. Next, in this slide, this is a reference that I used to present material today. I used the book The Art of Public Speaking by Stephen E. Lucas. The last slide, this is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. I think enough. Thanks for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.